Bone loss, heart defects, withdrawal symptoms. Every time you consume caffeine, you're doing this to your body, but it's not your fault. Most companies don't take into consideration your health when they make your favorite candies or caffeinated drinks. Most companies put more than the daily recommended dosage of caffeine in just one serving of food or drink. 77.3% of university students alone consume more than the recommended amount of caffeine every day. This statistic comes from the University of New Hampshire and an academic experiment conducted in the spring of 2013. Based on that statistic alone, that means that 17 out of the 22 of us in this class are consuming more caffeine than we should. This is leading to detrimental effects on our bodies. Since I am one of these 17, I want to see a change in the way that caffeinated products are made and handled, starting with our university. In this speech, I will take you through how caffeine affects our bodies and how much we should be consuming and what policies should be put into place to protect us from harming ourselves permanently. One of the ways that caffeine is affecting our bodies is it's diminishing our central nervous system. When caffeine enters the brain, it binds the adenosine receptors because it looks like adenosine. This causes the nerve cells to speed up, which results in the pituitary gland releasing adrenaline, which causes our senses to become more sharpened, thus creating an intense feeling of alertness. So to give you an example of how this affects us, if you have a cup of coffee at 8 a.m., 25% of that coffee is still in your system by 8 p.m., causing insomnia for most people. This continuation of adrenaline in our body for extended periods of time is leading to insomnia in most college students. This statistic comes from Forbes' article, Caffeine, the Silent Killer of Success, published in 2012, and was written by Travis Bradberry, who's an expert in emotional intelligence. Caffeine can also cause heart palpitations. In a recent study of 50,000 people by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition in 2005, 48,000 of these people reported heart palpitations in as little as 2 cups of coffee. Regularly ingesting this much coffee has been said to lead to ventricular tachyarrhythmia, which is the overworking of the heart and most frequent cause of sudden death. In order to avoid brain damage and heart problems, there needs to be a policy implemented to regulate the amount of caffeine that is allowed to be put in our food and beverages. I recommend that the amount of coffee that should be allowed in any food or drink is less than 50 milligrams. 1 cup of coffee is equivalent to 150 milligrams of caffeine. That is 50 milligrams over our recommended daily intake. Our recommended dosage is 50 milligrams of caffeine per day. By lowering the amount of caffeine allowed in food and drinks, we will be able to reduce the risk of caffeine on our body. My policy is likely to work because it will allow for students to continue eating their favorite candy or snacks and drink their favorite caffeinated beverages without it harming their body. Reducing your caffeine intake can help your bones and teeth become strong. According to Creighton University in Omaha, caffeine may hinder your body's ability to absorb calcium, and prolonged intakes of large amounts of caffeine may cause osteoporosis later in life. The university conducted a study of 190 women, recording their daily caffeine intake and calcium levels. The researchers found that each 6-ounce serving of coffee appeared to correlate with a decrease of 4.6 milligrams of calcium. The constituents in coffee can interfere with normal drug metabolism and detoxification in the liver, making it difficult to regulate the normal detoxification process in the liver. Another issue to be aware of with coffee intake is how certain medications, such as thyroid as tricyclic antidepressants, are poorly absorbed, making symptoms curiously worse for patients. Diabetes mellitus is one of the leading causes of mortality in both the developed and developing world. According to estimates worldwide, 376 million people will become affected by the year 2030. Rational planning and allocation of resources is necessary to combat this disorder. Quantification of the associated risks/factors like aging, lack of physical activity, lifestyle changes, and obesity must be undertaken. In this regard, diet-based strategies should be devised to control diabetes mellitus, and the pathogenesis of diabetes mellitus can be prevented by slight modification in our daily diet. For this purpose, utilization of natural compounds is gaining wide popularity. In this era, much emphasis has been paid to these natural compounds, and a lot of evidence has been generated supporting this viewpoint. Coffee consumption has been negatively correlated with the incidence of metabolic syndromes and diabetes. By implementing the policy, I look to decrease these risk factors and help university students to balance their diet and not consume too much caffeine in order to place permanent defects on their bodies. I believe that we should implement this policy in order to better our health and the health of the nation and the world. We should lower our caffeine intakes and make sure that companies only make products that meet certain standards in order to keep caffeine intake to a minimum. Reducing your caffeine intake will improve your night's sleep, help lower your complications, and lead to you having a lower chance of developing diabetes. So, learn to cut coffee before coffee cuts you.